Hey, how you guys doing? Of course, it's another week and a time for a couple more topics coming up. One topics kind of has to do with a comment from one commenter, Felipe, who appears to be a professional that uses DaVinci Resolve, and he kind of noticed my a couple topics I've been doing on the new DaVinci Resolve that's coming out. And he seems kind of upset, which is understandable because if you're professional, you tend not to want to change your workflow and other things because obviously that would that's how you make your money if you do this as your full-time job or even semi-pro making additional money. So it's understandable up to a point. And this goes even in toward business. Businesses tend to want to stick with things that work. They're not in a big hurry to upgrade because that can additionally cause problems in the future. So often operating system changes, updates, security updates, applications being updated. Usually that doesn't happen right away. It can take years, which is understandable. Like I said, business is business. But I think if you really take a look at it now, the DaVinci Resolve 14 is in public beta. And public beta is different in many ways. Because when they open it up to the public, they want as many people as possible to use it. And I think some professionals see that and they quickly download it and say, oh, it's got bugs, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. And that's not the primary purpose of public beta. They're trying to get as many people to use it as possible. Now, because there's only a certain limited amount of developers can go and test this, and they simply can't test it on the dozens, hundreds, or thousands of different hardware configurations and operating systems with other applications. There's just no way they can do this. So public beta is a very popular way for many companies to work out the bugs before they release the final version, and almost a lot of companies do this. Microsoft has a public beta. Apple has one now. Of course, with Linux, you can download the most recent bleeding edge software. But the idea is to submit bug reports. So it's kind of a trade-off. They give you early access, but then again, you should be hopefully submitting bug reports, letting know what problems you have, and it's kind of a trade-off. Obviously, you don't want to put this on a production machine because it might affect how you make your money. So just keep that in mind. And I even see this on the consumer side, even getting away from the professional here for a minute. I see a lot of people say, let's say Apple or Microsoft releases a new version and there's some problems, and I always hear people say like, well, you should wait until all these bugs are fixed before you release this software. This can be also with applications, and there's just simply no way you can do that, like I said, because there's just simply so much software out there, third party hardware configurations. There's no way you could actually fix all the bugs, and pretty soon you're not going to release anything. So obviously that's one of the biggest reasons that we have public beta, to help rectify that problem. So, but if you are a professional, that's kind of what you have to keep in mind. Just don't download the beta or the open beta and like, oh my gosh, and freak out. Don't do that. Even if you use it and you have problems, submit bug reports, because your specific software hardware combination, you want to submit that to the developer. So once it gets released, that might actually fix your problems on your particular system or your workflow. So that's something that you would want. So that's some things that the professional needs to keep in mind with public beta software. It's not a end all be all. Keep that in mind. Now, when I did use the DaVinci Resolve 14 public beta, initially I was really happy with it. I didn't see a lot of problems. Now, of course, I use it differently. I only use it for the color correction, color grading. The editing and audio editing, I don't really do that much. I much prefer, and I still prefer Final Cut Pro 10. But once I started using the Fairlight audio engine, then I started seeing some problems. So yes, it does need some work, and I could see that as well. And there seemed to be a lot of response to DaVinci Resolve and then version 14, because in many cases, I think people are trying to get away from maybe Apple hardware and or Final Cut Pro 10, or they're trying to get away from Adobe Premiere Pro and some of their software, because you basically have to rent it forever. It does have a lot of problems, and I've been hoping for eventually a total rewrite in perhaps After Effects, Premiere Pro, and some other things. So that's why a lot of people are looking at DaVinci Resolve, because this already has a really great color correction, color grading already in there. Then they went into editing, and now finally into audio. So this is looking very good for the professional to perhaps move into DaVinci Resolve for an all-in-one solution. And plus it does have a lot of incentives. The price has been substantially reduced, the Pro version or the Studio version, down to $300. I think supposedly you still need a dongle to run it, but that's another story altogether. And even the free version gives you almost everything except for some export options and other Super Pro type of things. But I think you can even use it for commercial production for free, the free version, without being penalized or anything like that. So yeah, give me your thoughts on this and what you think. And as always, I thank everybody for responding to the videos, because often I use these comments they make great topics, and your feelings as well. And don't forget, if you like my videos, please subscribe and